Jacob, wonderful to meet you guys. I'm a bit of a adventurer and I'm a hunter.
Oh yeah.
And so tell me about the adventure of starting this beautiful handcrafted knife company. What's it called and what do you do?
Yeah. So I was the one who started it. I'm Jacob. I started it back when I was 14. So it's been a journey of making it. And I made my first knives when I was like 11. There's a YouTube video. It's just like a build along. So I just kind of followed that video in my garage and like made my first knife and actually like fell in love with it. And then when I was 14, there was a guy in our neighborhood named Ted Harris, and me and my brother and my best friend went to his house and we just like knocked on his door. He answered and we had never talked to him. He had no idea who we were. We're like, hey, like we heard that you make knives. Like, can you show us some stuff? And he was like super kind, super generous. Took us in, like showed us like all these like amazing pieces he's made. And that's all, we just wanted to see him. That's all we came there for. He's like, hey, come back tomorrow and I'll like teach you guys how to make some knives. We're like, awesome. So like little teenage kids, we go back the next day.
Yeah.
And he's just showing us how to make knives and we're starting our first knives. And I ended up going over to his place, 2 or 3 times a week for about 2 years straight and just learning from him, making tons of knives. And after about a year going there, I started collecting some of my own tools. And then after about 2 years, I had kind of my own little shop, my own little tools and my own stuff. And I started selling a bunch of knives. I mean, I didn't originally intend to do that, but after I made like 30 or 40 of them, I had nothing to do with them all.
Yeah.
And people started offering to buy them. And so I'd sell them. And then some people would come to me, hey, like, can you make this specific type of knife for me? So originally it was just a hobby. And then it became just custom knives. I did custom knives, some very high-end chef knives, like all the way until just a couple of years ago, we started doing kind of more production knives, but it's still 100% handmade and super
rad. So a little passion project as a child, turned into a side hustle. You got a mentor. Tell me about that first knife. That first knife you made when you were 11.
The very first one was not that good.
I bet.
Yeah. What I did is I took
like
a
shoelace and a comb.
Exactly. Pretty much. I took like an old Harbor Freight machete and an angle grinder and I just cut a shape out of a knife that was already in, made my own little like smaller knife and then a Harbor Freight grinder and like ground a little bevel on it, glued like 2 pieces of wood I found in the garage and like shaped the handle as like pretty much just like a block of wood on a roughly sharpened, piece of metal is what it ended up being. But I loved it.
That's
cool.
awesome. So your folks must have been pretty handy growing up. I couldn't imagine 11-year-old me with an angle grinder. My mom would have been like, what are you doing? Get out of the garage. Or she kind of let you get after it.
I think I've always just loved hands-on stuff. I always liked making things, building things. And I think my dad taught me a little bit and then just enough of just like going in the garage and just doing it on my own eventually, just do it. So.
And you got your bro roped into the company too. What's the name of the business?
Jagged Mountain Knives.
Jagged Mountain Knives. JMK.
JMK.
I like it. And you got some here. Show me some of these beautiful works of art.
Dallan made most of these. So
I actually made all 3 of these ones.
All right, Dallan, let's see.
Sheaths. Well, these 2 kayak sheaths. So our main production knives are the Nomad and the Scout. So I'll hand you those over. That one's my personal one. I've got my Maker's Mark lasered all over it for fun. And then the Scout as well is essentially
nice
just a smaller type.
Fully tanged.
Yep,
I know some things. Yeah.
Not a nice thick blade, thick spine. So
is it cherry?
That is Cocobolo.
Cocobolo. I've never even heard of that before.
It's a wood kind of in Central America.
Okay. Yeah, endemic to Central America. Beautiful.
And it's fun because you'll get all sorts of colors. Like these ones are a little bit more on the orange and brown side, but some boards will have more purples and lighter whites and whatnot.
And so what knives do you make the most and what are the most popular?
Right now we do make more Nomads than we do make Scouts, but the Scout is the newer production knife that we have.
Yep.
The one you have in your hand there is one of the limited editions we did back in January, and it's an Alaska edition. So the handle is composed of moose antler, stacked leather, and then that's a yellow cedar burl.
So you got antler, leather, and cedar.
Yeah, but this wood is native to Alaska. So everything about that was like themed around Alaska.
Oh yeah, Alaska edition 3 of 15. Wow, nice. I really like the weight.
Yeah.
I've kind of like wider hands, so I like something I can really get a grip on. I have a hard time with a lot of
knives.
Field dressing knives for hunting because the handles are a little small. I end up like having 3 fingers, and I like the good weight.
Yeah, they've been great. And that specific knife you have, I've had that since probably the end of August, and I've taken all sorts of camping trips and splitting wood, carving stuff, cutting up food. Like, it's just been a good do-all knife. And it's sailed up to a lot. A lot of it's like, well, let's see if this can, you just baton the crap out of it with a different stick, splitting stuff, cutting stuff, and it's been really good, really durable.
I have to say, I love the handcrafted nature and that you like make them from start to finish. It's such a unique niche because so many knives, so many, bench made, and all of knives that I own are a dime a dozen. They're all coming out of China kind of thing. And you guys make these yourselves. So you got like a steel shop? Like, how do you cut the steel for the blade?
So I guess you can explain that.
Yeah. So we originally started by just buying. Well, I started forging. That's when I first started. Everything was just forged out. And then the Nomad and the Scout you see here, we take bar steel. That's how we start with bar steel. We take an angle grinder and then a belt grinder and shape it. Today we're getting most of these cut out. So we'll buy a sheet, like a 2 by 4 foot sheet, 5 steel, and then a plasma cutter or like a water jet. Go ahead and just cut the blank. And then we take that blank and do the bevels, the shaping, do the heat treating, do the handle. So that's just one of the recent things we've done that has sped us up a little bit. Is just, using a CNC to cut the initial blank out, and then we go from there.
Oh, rad. Okay. And so are you still doing custom orders? If somebody wanted a narwhal tusk ivory handle kind of thing?
I still do custom orders. I am probably only making like 2 knives a month now. Me personally, a lot of my time is now spent building, growing the business, just operating the business. So we still do custom knives. And then Dallan, I think he's done a couple customs as well. And
I feel like especially the past like 2 or 3 months have just been random customs coming in, and I add that to the batch of whatever knives I'm working on. Okay.
So scaling up, right? So you're admin now behind the scenes, just a creator. You don't get to handle the work as much anymore. What kind of like production are you doing now? Like how many knives a month or something?
We have 6 guys that, make knives on the team. And right now, like we have a capacity to do just over 100 knives a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
All by hand. Wow. That's huge production.
Yeah. So it's been fun. We're selling. So one of our guys is overseas right now. So we're only selling about 60, 70 a week right now. But if everyone was going full time with what they can, we've capacity for about 100, 120 knives a week right now.
Wow. That's a much bigger scale than I anticipated. That's amazing. Do you have like a brick and mortar?
We don't. So we don't own any of our own stores. We do like 90 to 95% of our sales are all e-commerce, so online. I used to be in a bunch of like high-end bougie ski town boutique stores, kind of there selling stuff. And we're in a couple right now. And that's something that we are looking to get further into. It's just for the past year, we've been behind on orders like 24/7, like hundreds of orders behind. And so up until
a good thing, I guess.
A couple of weeks ago, we finally got caught up to where we're starting to have more knives made than actual orders. And so now we're looking for other sales channels just to diversify that. Okay,
interesting. I see these beautiful leather sheaths here as well, and you've got them stamped. Do you make these too? Do you do leather work?
So I'll let you.
So our sheath maker is actually based out of Springville as well.
Okay.
And he's a 3rd generation leather worker.
Rad.
Out of what's his storefront called?
Western Trade.
Yeah.
Western Trade. Shout out to those guys.
So Western Trade makes all of our production sheaths, which he's been awesome to work with. Like we'll go into a shop and if we got to tweak something, like we're working on a project right now for a big drop in May. And we've been having to go through different iterations. So, we'll go in and chat and like, hey, can we tweak this? Can we change this? And he's been awesome to work with. Oh, that's great. These are nice. And these are made to order, or at least certainly made for your blades.
Yeah, these are made for ours. So we'll buy, a big batch from him, and we just keep them in the shop. And then each knife automatically comes with their choice, of a color of sheath. And then you can also buy a replacement sheaths as well.
Nice. The knife comes with a sheath too. And is that copper?
And some copper rivets. So this is your biggest, stress point on a sheath
Mhm.
is right here.
Yep.
And if you just have stitching over, maybe 5 years or so,
It's going to blow
that's
out.
going to blow out.
Yeah,
And these rivets
absolutely.
just make it where this sheath, as long as you treat it right,
Mhm.
it'll last for generations.
And what about these heavy duty plastic ones? These are a little more utilitarian.
Yeah,
What's that
so-
cool transformer looking logo on there?
Yeah. Those are our Kydex sheaths that we started making. February is when we started offering them on our website.
You make these too?
Selling them before. We just started
we just
putting
we
them
just
in-house
outsourced it. Yeah,
in February.
we switched it to in-house production.
Mhm.
So I come from a background. So I graduated with a degree in product design and development.
Mhm.
And while I was going to school and a little bit after school, I worked for a concealed carry holster manufacturer.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Both with like production, design, R&D, just a lot of different things. So I had a huge background in Kydex. So I kind of been like you could call it a project lead on getting the line set up and getting kind of what we're wanting to do. And then whenever we get orders in, I make the sheath for it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. And so they were 3D printed in the beginning?
They're actually just thermo molded. So we heat it up, and then since these are all handmade, each one is going to be a little bit unique as far as like your measurements go and your specs go.
Mm-hmm.
So with a semi-custom knife, if you want like a tight fitting sheath, it's got to fit to that knife. So this knife is only going to work in this sheath, which is great. So then it's a very great click, great fit, great retention.
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
see a
like
lot
how
of people
snug that is. Like it's not coming out of there. Yeah, that's great.
You could be slinging it, it ain't gonna come out
Yeah.
once you grab it.
And you see a lot of people like to put it on like backpacks, especially like hunters will have it clipped to their backpack rather than on their hip because their pack is on their waistline. And so you can
have a strap, or you don't have to like undo your belt to put it on. You don't have to like undo your backpack strap. You can just kind of clip it over.
Yep.
And have it there.
On and off, easy peasy. Nice. I like that. And so you kind of have the two major production blades. Is one more like utilitarian? Like what's your demographic? Is it just hunters, or like who's buying these?
So originally I designed this knife, a little over 2 years ago. It's called the Nomad. And I made this knife for what I wanted the knife in. I hunt a little bit, but not a lot. My biggest thing is I love camping, being outdoors. I just wanted kind of an all-purpose camp knife. And so that's what it was originally designed for. Was just people who like to spend time outdoors and need a solid, well-built knife. And as we started selling them, most of our customers are hunters. I'd say, the vast majority of them are hunters. And so a lot of people do buy this, for skinning out an elk, for skinning out a deer, for stuff like that. And it does work well for that. It's a little thicker than sometimes you want as a skinning knife. And so I tell people, hey, like this isn't made to be a skinning knife. It'll do a great job if you want a knife that's going to do all sorts of things. This is like just a great beast workhorse of a knife. Can accomplish any task. It may not be the perfect one for everything, but it's going to do a good job at most. And so I tell people with this knife. And then this knife we designed with a guy. His name is Taylor Dallan. He has like an Instagram page. It's like a Western style knife. So this is kind of we designed this as like a fixed blade EDC. So an everyday carry. Obviously, most people today aren't going to be carrying this every day. They don't want like a smaller pocket knife, but someone who spends time outdoors, who's a rancher, who's on a horse, who's doing stuff, this is something they can carry every day. That's not as big as a Nomad, but still serves a lot of different purposes. And then this is also like a great, you could use this for skinning and caping and stuff like that as well.
They've got such a great antique look to them. I could see how long lasting they must be, and like it's almost a family heirloom kind of piece. I see that as the kind of knife like this was grandpa's knife, and it's gonna last 100 years. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love the name Nomad too, just as a word. I'm always collecting dog names actually. Like I have my whole spreadsheet of future dog names. I think Nomad just made the list. Shout out to my future puppy.
Perfect. That's sweet.
Stokes Picks are the world's first organically flavored nicotine toothpicks. Produced in the great state of Maine from American white birch wood, which is sustainably harvested and grown in the great state of Maine. They have incredible flavors: vanilla mint, lemon ginger, cinnamon clove, and absinthe. And if you enter the promo code Enter the Unknown, you'll receive 20% off your order at stokespicks.com.
Well, tell me more about the production and just kind of like, where do you see yourself going?
Yeah. So right now we just have a small little shop in my parents' backyard that they built back in 2020. and we've just been working out of there, and it's been amazing. It's been great. We hope to outgrow it. I'd imagine probably next summer we'll be looking to, upscale and get a little bigger shop. Right now we're just, you should probably do want to walk through like the production of how we actually make them.
Yeah.
You're doing that day in, day out.
Yeah, I'm making them every week. So we start materials wise, it's, it's a bar of steel and a plank of wood. From there we go through, whether we get the laser cut blank or you have to, angle grind out a blank. You get your blank set up, your blade set up, profile it, shape it. Then we go and do the bevel. From the bevel, then you got to heat treat it. We have, and with a lot of the knives, we're drilling out the holes and whatnot. But after beveling and heat treating, while that's tempering, a lot of times we'll go through and then start cutting out the handle and getting kind of the handle prepped and ready for the blade once it's done with the tempering process. After it's tempered, then you'll start marking. A lot of times how I like to do is I like to, mark this as knife 1 and this is handle 1. Get everything marked, start drilling the handles, cut them in half, then you glue it up. From the glue up, then it's all shaping. The blade's almost done. It's not quite a sharpened blade, but from there you shape the handle on a belt grinder, and then we finish it with hand sanding, so to get out all of the corners and make sure everything's nice and smooth.
Nice
and
polished finish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll hand sand it, we buff it, we put a tongue oil on the outside to kind of finish it and give it a little bit of
that nice veneer.
A little bit of a protective coating. And then we'll laser on like the logos, and sometimes like obviously the Nomad goes on one side and our logo goes on the other.
Right.
But sometimes companies will custom order, a batch of 20 for a work present or, whatever. So if that's the case, we'll have our logo on this side, and then, we'll laser on whatever logo they want there. And,
the date, the company, what have you.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever they're wanting. And then we sharpen them and you give it the paper test, which is, I like it. It does take a little bit of finesse, but once you have like the blade sharpened and then you hone it on a buffer wheel, you just make confetti out of a piece of paper and you see how sharp it is, and I always go overboard. Like you can figure out if it's sharpened, 1, 2, 3 slices, but I'll just kind of sit there and slice up the paper because
that's great.
It's like the very finishing touch. You made a good knife. It's it's all feeling great, and then that's that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's such a cathartic practice, sharpening a knife.
So fun.
I was a professional chef for a long time. Yeah,
Oh,
I ran
sweet.
fine dining restaurants in Aspen and did a bunch of catering, and I had a cafe at one point. And sharpening a knife, there's something to that, whether you're using a flat stone or you're going fast with a wand or you're doing the showy And one of my practices was before service, sharpening the knife, and I would print out the printer tape, which is where the orders come into the kitchen, and I would use that like your confetti to test how sharp the knife was. And if it wouldn't cut that thick paper, I was like, no, back to the one, get after it. Yeah. Oh, it's such a fun practice. It makes me want to go home and sharpen all my knives.
Yeah.
Something cool that I think Dallan left out a little bit is if you look on the back of the knife, you'll see a little D there.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that is Dallan's maker's mark. So everyone
rad.
who works at Jagged Mountain Knives gets to design their own maker's mark. And they're going to put that on every single knife they make. And then when we ship this knife out, it goes out with a card that has Dallan's picture and a little, hey, I'm Dallan, I made your knife.
Little bio.
A little bit about me.
Oh yeah.
And so like that's something that's really important to Jagged Mountain Knives is just that these are handmade and the maker is a very important part of that. It's not just the product you're getting a story of everything that went in to getting this knife, so that when you pass this knife down to your son, and his son and so forth, like it's a little bit of an heirloom piece, and we just think that this kind of signifies and kind of ties it back to who actually made this knife. Yeah,
the insignia.
I love.
I appreciate that too.
And it's nice as the maker too. I kind of like it because it's like not like a pride piece, but it's like I made this. It passed all of my qualification tests, and I'm proud of this knife. Here you go. Now it's yours.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Use it.
Yeah, being able to literally and figuratively leave your mark on your work. It's part of true artistry. I appreciate that a lot. These are beautiful works, I have to say. It's great that they're American made as well, when so many production knives are coming from overseas because it's just cheaper. And
way cheaper and way easier.
Yeah. Do you work with any retailers or wholesalers?
So we don't work right now with any retailers or wholesalers. I'm looking to get into it right now. It's difficult when your margins don't match what retailers want. A lot
Sure.
of retailers will want, 50% off of what you
Right.
sell the thing for.
Mhm.
And we'd already be in the negative at that
Mhm.
place. And so
Mhm.
it's difficult for us right now
Mhm.
to, be a good fit for
Mhm.
most retailers
Mhm.
because of that. Being,
Mhm.
handmade, made in America means that we have a lot more costs up
Yeah.
front
Yep.
than a lot of, overseas knives do.
Mhm.
But I think in time we would like to get into some, of the right retailers for us.
Yeah, I bet. I wonder, there's probably different groups. I think of like Expert Voice, if you're familiar with that, or like guide outfitters. And so
Yes.
they're just conglomerates of companies essentially. And it's like, if you work for, I'm a paragliding instructor
Yeah.
as an example. As a paragliding instructor, I become a member of this Expert Voice, and there's 100, 200 different brands on there, from Big Agnes tents to Katahdin water filters to backpacker pantry foods. And I want to say that like Benchmade is maybe on their list too. And then there's similar groups. I think one's called like guide outfitters, where if you're a certain guide, like I'm a registered Maine guide in the state of Maine. So I do moose hunting and bear hunting and that kind of stuff. And then I get discounts on like, First Light camo equipment and that kind of stuff. That could be like a good segue for you guys.
That's something I think we would fit very well into. And we have looked, we've done a couple of our own, just someone will reach out to us, like a company, and they want 20 knives, and we give them a discount rate, a wholesale rate is what I call it. And I think that'd be amazing, to find, a good distribution to find those deals and stuff.
Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like with that it would be nice too, because you already know it's the type of people that you'd want to use your knife a ton.
Right. Yeah.
I used to river guide down in southern Utah for a couple summers. And so I used both Guide Fitter and Expert Voice all the time to snag deals on whatever gear I wanted. And
exactly.
I think that would be sweet for anyone, if it was a hunting guide, a river guide, someone that does wildland forest fires or all sorts of stuff would be a sweet market.
Yeah, it widen your demographic too, I would think, for sure. What kind of rafting did you do?
Just whitewater rafting. So,
on the Colorado?
On the Colorado, on the Green River. So
and on the Green too.
Both like, some of it would be just like daily runs where you have people come in, run the river for a day, say goodbye, and then there were also some where they're on the river for the week.
Oh, awesome!
And I was cooking, cleaning, hauling all their stuff around. And it was fun. It was
a lot of work on those overnights.
And it was in the desert too, so it was just hot, sunny, a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
How many miles are you doing on like a 5-day trip or so?
The 5-day trip, usually most of it, like river miles, we're pushing right around 100. Usually like in the 90s, 80s, 90s. Depended. Sometimes we'd have to go, like, depending on the water level. And at one point there was a boat ramp that had washed out. So we had to go all the way across Lake Powell to then get to a boat ramp there. To load up all of our stuff with some of the bigger rafts. And it was fun, but the lake day was just a long, slow putt. We're no motorboat. All the wakeboarding boats are passing. And you're just
slow
kind
float.
of these crusty river guys. Like, oh, man. Been in the
more
sun
sunscreen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be a rough year this year with the drought in the Rockies. Some rafting guys
that are going back in the summer, and they're looking for it because it's river. It's still fun, but it's not going to be the record.
Not going to be the same. Some of the smaller rivers are going to be kind of like out of business.
A little bit more portaging and carry your stuff around.
You think about that.
Interesting for me, having lived in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado for such a long time, and moving back to the East Coast. I live in Maine now, and we had an incredible snow year. It snowed a couple inches just the other day. Oh, yeah. In fact, I'm going to be skiing in northern Maine like 10 days from now, where a lot of resorts on the west are like closed already. The skiing's not that good. It's not that good. But. So do you guys do trade shows and craft fairs and that kind of thing too?
So we haven't done a lot. We've done a couple here and there, and that's something that I'm wanting to start getting more into, is those trade shows and expos and stuff like that. But we have not done a lot. Like I said, like we've been sometimes like over 100 knives behind. And so our focus has been get our production up so that we can actually like fulfill the orders that are already coming in. So we weren't really looking for a lot of more, sales, which is like a crazy thing to say as a business. So we needed to get where we could actually meet the demand. And now I think we're finally at a place where we're a little ahead of the curve, and now we're looking, let's put get some more eyeballs on this. And so that's something we're looking to do.
That's great to be in the expansion process where now you're more into marketing. It's a good inflection point to be at. Bringing more people on board. And so do you have, I don't want to say ethics necessarily, but like with your mission and the handcrafted, and the sourcing of the ingredients, as you get bigger, are you still going to be able to get like the same high quality woods you want? And how do you operate the sourcing of your stuff?
For sure. I think that's going to be something that's really important to us, and like we're going to make it work, and we're going to do it the right way no matter what. I don't know exactly how challenging that will be in the future because I haven't done it yet, but we're going to do it the right way and make it work how we need to. And that's something that, I mean, we've had we've had a couple of people, bigger business people reach out wanting to invest, reach out wanting to kind of change how we operate.
Yep.
You know, and I understand where a lot of them are coming from. A lot of people, you know, the handmade aspect is cool, but the handmade aspect is slow, expensive, and it's difficult to scale. And so that's something that people always say, like, hey, like maybe you should step away from that. Maybe you should, and like even like maybe you should keep it handmade, but do it like an assembly line, or maybe you should do lean manufacturing, where you have one guy one guy sharpens the knife, one guy glues the handle together, one guy does the beveling. Like a lot of people have reached out wanting us to kind of change that method and, you know, advise that. And it's what they're saying is usually valid, but it's something that's important to us, is to keep the craft how it was, you know, hundreds of years ago, and also make it something that where, like Dallan, if he's going to be making knives, you know, day in, day out, when he's getting to see the whole process, it's a much more fulfilling and a much more rewarding job and occupation that you can actually take pride in. Instead of just being like, yeah, like I get to see this finished product, but all I do is like this little part. And 8 hours a day sharpening knives. Like for me, I would hate my life. Some people, maybe that's what they like to do, is just, you know, turn their brain off and just go to work. But for us, it's important to scale, because I do want this to be a big business. Like I have a goal to be doing, you know, $10 million in revenue in about 4 years. And we have a ways to go to get there. That's a high hope, but
we need more than 6 guys.
Oh yeah. We need a lot more than 6 guys. So we're on track for like $1 million this year.
Yeah.
And so we just
congrats.
You know,
that's great.
10 times.
Good for you to kind of stick to your guns and true to form with the artistry. I think that is important, you know, and employee retention as you scale a company. Having owned a couple of businesses myself is a very difficult task. And, you know, what is the goal? Is it to always make a beautiful handmade knife forever, or is it to make $10 million? Because, you know, you might be forced into making some compromises that you would hate to do. And, you know, those dollar signs, they only get bigger and bigger. But good for you to be able to keep that artistry. I love the personalized insignia, you know, that story and that bio of who created your knife, and it's from start to finish. You know, one set of hands made this from beginning to end. That's truly like a legacy brand. You know, when I've created businesses in the past, I've had some business mentors and coaches, and one of them said something to me that said, you want to create a brand that's going to be around for 100 years. There's so many products out there. You think about foods and novelties and shoes and things, and they're like flash in the pan. You know, like whatever happened to that one shoe brand? Or they were really popular for 5 years and then they disappeared, kind of thing. Or what happened to that, you know, different Cheeto, whatever, and it was big for a while, it was in the store, and then it was gone again. It's because it's this story of, you know, are we going to scale and make as much money as possible and hope that we can go on Shark Tank and somebody's going to buy us out, and then great, I became rich and now I don't have my knife company anymore. Or are you going to really stay true to form? Amazing for you guys. Empower you to kind of stick to that path.
I think the furthest I'd ever step away from that path is we keep having our 100% handcrafted things, and maybe we offer a separate brand, you know, a brand that's under Jagged Mountain Knives that is maybe a little more consumer friendly, that is machine made. And, you know, we still have Jagged Mountain Knives and it still operates and runs exactly how it has been, you know, right now. But we create a separate brand, and that can be the one that goes and chases every single deal. And this is our bread and butter. So that's the furthest I'd step away from about, like, Jagged Mountain Knives. It's not, I'll start another business that's different before I, you know, you give up what I've been building here.
Well, if you start a new product line, I'm in the market for a new backpacking axe.
Oh yeah.
They've got a bunch of different nicknames. It depends on like the Native American tribe and the size that they used it at the time. It's kind of like a mid-length, like quarter length, but like a really good hard wood, you know, maple oak, cedar, something like that. Just beautiful with a nice crafted top to it. So if you guys want to branch out, I'll be your first axe purchase. All right.
I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of products that I would. I mean, we're working on like a skinning knife right now, a dedicated skinning knife with, you ever heard of Kafaru?
Yes.
So they're a hunting pack company. So we did 100 knives co-branded with them. We, you know, designed it, sold them together with them. And then we're in the process right now of working on a skinning knife that we're going to have together. So that'll be our next like thing. So like there's a bunch of products that we want to get into. We just want to make sure that we do every one that we do correct and right, and where we can, you know, make our customers happy and make our partners happy with it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think you guys are on the right track. This is a beautiful product. I look forward to seeing where it goes. And maybe we'll be in touch. Dallan, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Jacob, thanks for the conversation.
Good to meet you too.
I look to see some more of your work in the future, and hopefully I'll get my custom axe sometime.
For sure. Let's make it happen.
Do you guys have any knife jokes?
If I need to. I don't know.
I've never even thought of that genre.
Yeah.
Knife joke.
You can maybe like make up one. Like the knife that cuts both ways is a double-edged sword, but it's actually a scissor. Something there. I didn't have to make the scissor motion, but you guys get it.
Well, yeah, it was needed. It was needed.
Yeah.
Tasteful.
How about a mission? Do you have a mission statement?
I don't have anything set, and that's something I would need to actually get set.
Well, you heard it here first. JMK, the world's best #1 handcrafted knife on planet Earth.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it.
Studies show it.
All right. Well, cheers, guys. Salute to that.
Thank you.
Until next time.